In a country battling record inflation, mass unemployment, and growing insecurity, the Department of State Services, the DSS, has just built and commissioned a Bola Ahmed Tinubu Center for Islamic Studies in Kaduna. Let that sink in. The nation's top intelligence agency, whose job is to counter terrorism, espionage, and internal sabotage, is now in the business of constructing religious education centers named after a sitting president. If this doesn't raise red flags about the misuse of state power, blurred lines between religion and governance, and creeping authoritarianism, what will? This is not about Islam, it's about institutional integrity, about boundaries, about a security agency straying from its constitutional mandate. Why is the DSS funded by taxpayers' money building a religious center? Why now? And why name it after President Tinubu? Nigeria is a secular state, yet we are watching the dangerous politicization of faith and the creeping use of national institutions for soft propaganda. What message does this send to millions of Christians, traditionalists, and even Muslims who see through this tokenism? Is the DSS now a developer of religious infrastructure or an intelligence agency? Worse still, this comes at a time when Nigerians are buckling under the weight of economic hardship, hunger, and fear. Citizens can afford food, electricity is a luxury, and insecurity remains rampant. Against this backdrop, the decision by a national security agency to commission a religious center named after the president feels not just tone deaf, but deeply insulting. It reeks of privilege and detachment from the daily struggles of ordinary Nigerians. We're not against interfaith gestures or community development, but it must come from the right quarters. If the DSS has the bandwidth to build schools, why not build a forensic lab to track terrorists or intelligence facilities to combat banditry?
All right, so even the people that want to defend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu are finding it ridiculously impossible, because every single day, the institutional breakdown, the capture of our state, the failure of agencies and departments of government to even do their primary duties. And now DSS, the Department of State Security, is now finding itself functioning in a particular terrain that is not supposed to be. What concerns the DSS with building a Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Islamic Center first and foremost, and then naming it after someone like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who lacks self-esteem, who has complex issues, and seeking validation at all costs? I made a video here a while ago. I said what leadership everywhere in the world entails is that they will want to have legacy that will leave them and let the successors come out and immortalize them. But you see, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he wants to immortalize himself while he's still alive, because of course he knows that nobody will remember him while he lives. And that's aside. But what concerns the DSS, all of this sycophancy, like having Akpabio going to sing, a Senate president, something does not even happen even in small countries of Niger, Chad, and all of this, Equatorial Guinea, South Tome and Principe, that at least you can't even think of. And that's the same sycophancy, ridiculous sycophancy happening to our institutions. The capturing is enormous and it's embarrassing. Every sane Nigeria will be worried, because you have to define for me what is sycophancy, what is foolishness, what is stupidity, what is lack of understanding, lack of role of your job. What concerns there? And if the country was even on cruise control, so to speak, everything was in order security-wise, then I can excuse. The other day it is budget, the civic tech organization that is responsible, that's taking upon itself to put an eye on our public finances. We're reporting that institutes around Nigeria will be given contract in the 2025 budget to do roles. How can agricultural institute, for example, Institute of Agricultural Research, for example, right, was not being saddled with a job of purchasing vehicles for Ministry of Works? That's how terrible. For you to know, these are special purpose vehicles that are being used to do a lot of things. It has never been this bad with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and it take only an idiot. See, like I said, irrespective of whatever gains, whatever economic advantage, whatever economic potentials we see, the fact that this country is currently on its knees begging for one man to decide where every institution go is a bad omen. The rule of law is the basic fundamental pillar upon which every society is grown and developed on. No society grows without the rule of law. Due process, separation of power, all other attendant effect that concerns itself with the principles. Forget, see, any country can use mathematics. Buhari and Emefiele were printing dollars. If they have been able to print enough, economically would have survived. But after a while, all of the inflations and other economic issues will sum up. Again, the rule of law. What does the law says? That's the point. What concerns the DSS with building Islamic center, assuming like the presenter did put it very, very eloquently there. Assuming you want to build a center, a school, an institution, should you be concerned more with your primary duties? I have expected this news to be faked and debunked. But the more you see things about this government, the more you cringe and say, how was I born here in the first place? How? And there are people that look at this and celebrate. See, I can understand that you can be stupid for a while. You shouldn't be stupid forever. This is nonsense. And even if you support Bola Ahmed Tinubu, this is the time to say, okay, I support you, but this is rubbish. Say it. You won't die. Don't make excuses for this man. This man is a kid. See, you see that thing that the Bible said when he said the thief cometh to kill. This is what Bola Ahmed Tinubu came. It will take Nigeria 25 years to recover from this institutional collapse that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is creating into the country. I'm telling you, everything is somersault. Egbetoku is having a political extension of his office as IGP, as if he's doing excellently well, as if there are no people that can do better. What's Yakubu Mamu still doing? What's Akpabio still doing there? Somebody that should not even qualify in the first place to be a minister. Unfortunately, these people voted him, and thank God for what he did with that Kwaibon. But on national level, this is an embarrassment to the country. A lot of people have been put into offices that they don't have any reason being there, because a man who do not have the direction of where the country. And guess what? It is not Tinubu. Tinubu is benefiting all of this. All of this is, like I said, he is building institutions for his own. It's like the proverbial chameleon, where they say that it takes color from all its environment, or the environment reflects his own color at whichever way. And that's what Tinubu is doing. Every institution is now having a coloration of his identity, his brand, and his personality, which of course is evil, is wicked, is corrupt, is fraudulent, is scam, and is rubbish. For lack of better words, condemn this thing. You will not die. Condemn. This is rubbish. We have plethora of issues surrounding us. How is an Islamic? And again, like the presenter said, the problem is not with the Islamic, is who is doing it. And it's not just with DSS. A lot of organizations, I just gave you, go and check budget, budget on X, formerly Twitter. They listed several organizations, several research institutes, several that have no business executing project that the 2025 appropriation, the budget was, they were allotted with roles to do, jobs to do. All of them special purpose. And when you see DSS begin to build family center, wait for the Nigerian police to build a church. That's how well we have been messed up. And that's what they will do, of course, to create a balance. And ask yourself, how did we get here in the first place?